You know that there's been 9 Yeezy releases this month in March, and today we're going to be putting this insane month of Yeezy releases behind us because we're taking a look at the final release from Yeezy brand this month. Last but definitely not least, today we're taking a look at the newly revived Yeezy Desert Boot in the Taupe Blue colorway. Alright, so here is the box, a little bit different. You know, we're seeing letters rather than numbers on the top. So of course it says Desert Boot right there in kind of shortened or abbreviated text. And then the size tag, have a quick look at that before we slide them open. Let's take a look, guys. Today's pair of sneakers or shoes is the crazy Yeezy Desert Boot Taupe Blue. Here you go, guys, take a look. These look insane in person. I believe the last time we saw a desert boot was back in 2019, and back then I don't think they garnered that much attention. Like, I have a feeling I saw the desert boot on sale at some point back then. And with this return of the desert boot, these actually did pretty well. Like, they completely sold out, and they're actually reselling for a little bit of money on StockX. You know what? This is a very interesting one. I think we got a lot to talk about with this pair of shoes. This colorway is by far one of the more, I guess we could call it polarizing, but just different. I would say let's go with different. We're seeing something a little bit more saturated. Generally speaking, it's business as usual on the top, but when you flip it to this midsole, it is very blue, very blue. Let me give you some quick specifics on this pair. These did release yesterday, which was March the 29th. They retail for £170 here in the UK, or that is $200 out in the US. They kind of did the whole shock drop thing, you know, where Yeezy and other retailers just suddenly load them up in the morning. So that's kind of how the release went. I didn't particularly find it too tough to pick this pair up. However, you can let me know whether you struggled or maybe you just didn't get a pair at all. Now, if you've never seen the Desert Boot before, if you've never tried the Desert Boot out for yourself, where there are some familiar elements to this that you may recognize from the Yeezy 500. It has a very similar base mesh material which you find on a lot of elements of this sneaker, particularly the medial, the lateral, around the ankle area, and of course this tongue. That mesh material comes in a very nice kind of darker shade of brown. And when it comes to some of these overlays, well, they are pretty reminiscent of the Yeezy 500 as well, specifically the toe box, some of the eyelets or the eye stays, and round the back you also get some of those kind of nappier suede overlays. These suede overlays do feel really good, very boot-like I must say, and it's kind of a brownish gray color. You also get some beige or cream leather elements as well. You can see again around the eye stays moving up towards the tongue area, and of course you get the signature piping that moves around the side of the shoe. I believe that's reflective. I haven't actually tested it out, but that's something that is also on a Yeezy 500. And then obviously I guess you could call the polarizing part, which is this very massive blue section which covers the rubber mudguard that wraps around the entire shoe, and then of course the midsole and the outsole. And this rubber mudguard that wraps around the entire shoe is kind of a texturized rubber material. We've seen this material implemented on other pairs of Yeezys, the Yeezy 700 V3, just to name one, and of course the Yeezy 500 High. Now, when it comes to this midsole, there is kind of two different materials that you're getting. Towards the top, you're getting a slightly softer feeling, a little bit more cushioned midsole, but when it comes to this bottom piece, this is rock solid. When I first saw this color option, I didn't really know what to think. It was just a little bit unexpected, I must say, but you know what? I actually really like this blue and the brown together. I know it's a little bit left field considering it's a boot, however, I actually really like it. This may be my favorite desert boot colorway. I think the blue actually looks really awesome. Now, whether this is something you're just going to be wearing out and about as a lifestyle pair, or whether you're actually going to put this boot to work and utilize it as a boot, I feel like both applications could be pretty fair. However, when it comes to the comfort and the sizing of the Yeezy Desert Boot, there are some things that we do need to talk about. The first thing is these are extremely tight, probably the tightest pair of Yeezy shoes I've ever put on my feet. I went a half size up like I do in a lot of my Yeezys, and these are still too tight. I would definitely need to full size up, so that is kind of something that I recommend, is full sizing up. And just in general, this is a little bit more of a tight, and I would almost venture to say it's a little bit more of an uncomfortable pair of Yeezys. Again, this is a boot, so you can't really compare it to a sneaker, and I would imagine you want something that's a lot more durable and is going to take you places, but at the end of the day, in terms of comfort, it's not the best. But either way, that pretty much wraps it up for the Yeezy Desert Boot. Let me know what you think about this colorway down in the comment section. And of course, thank you so much for coming through, hanging out for yet again another video. Thank you for liking, commenting, and of course subscribing. I will catch you all in the next one. But until then,